Of course I'm going to start hacking up along the second we go live.
Good morning. Good morning.
The very second we go live, would you like to hear my lung come out of my throat? Great.
Rachel is a bit under the weather, to say the least. I'm recovering, and yet I think I'm also getting sick again, so I'm headed back there. We're a fun duo. We are a fun duo.
What else do you do when you come to visit your friend and her kids, if not pass all your illnesses back and forth to each other?
Sad but true.
What were we thinking?
Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. It is 9:30 here in California. If you are in Philadelphia or on the East Coast where Rachel usually is, it's already past noon. And if you're in another country, I don't know what time it is. My math's not that good at the moment.
You probably know what time it is where you are.
You probably do know.
That's a good thing.
So for those who have never seen us together on camera, because it's rare, I am Julie of Jaybird Quilts. And I started this in 2009. And this is Rachael, who joined me in 2014.
Yeah.
2014. Yeah. Brief history. Rachael and I have been BFFs for over 20 years. We met in college. I just turned 40 last week, which means I've now known her officially for more than half of my life. Known her significantly longer than my husband and most people in my life. This is really funny because you have your laptop to like check things, and that flips us so we're not reversed, but we're flipped on here. So this is like a mirror. This is creepy. I might need to take a picture of this. This is very meta. Like, what's going on here? All right, so let's see. Let's take a picture. This is new. So, like I said, Rachel's in Philadelphia. I'm born and raised in Philadelphia. I lived there most of my life till I was close to 29. Moved out here a little over 11 years ago. Moved for family, met my husband, eventually got married, had my two little kids, Nathan, who is 4, William, who is a year and a half, and still going strong with Jaybird Quilts, trying my best to balance the motherhood work thing, but there is no balance. It's like an illusion.
There's no balance, and it all bleeds into each other.
It does.
And there's no borders, and there's no boundaries. We've skipped all of the borders.
Good job. That was a good tie-in.
They're gone. They're gone.
If you hadn't figured out yet, Rachael does a lot for Jaybird Quilts, including she has the words. I am the math. I am the design. I am the geometry. That is my absolute strongest skill set. Is I am a mathematician. Rachel's a wordsmith. I am not the wordsmith. It's not really who I am.
Look, you don't have to have all of the things.
No.
You get what you get, and you use it to do what you can do. And you find other people who got other stuff, and they help you, and you help each other, and then you work together. That's what we figured out 40 years in.
I did a blog post many years ago about finding your tribe, and I talk about if you're not good at accounting, find someone good at accounting and put them on your tribe. If you're not good at social media, find someone good at that and put them on your tribe. Like, build your tribe so that you don't have to be an expert at everything. You have someone who is an expert or is good at that on your team. So Rachael is my wordsmith. I'm good at stream of consciousness, and then she turns that into logical
she missed
sense.
Her calling on QVC. The woman clearly grew up on QVC, and most of her lives are Jaybird QVC. It's a gift. I don't have it. Look, I can write my words. I don't want to sit here and ramble my words. That's fine. That's okay.
I would much rather ramble my words than write my words. Fun fact, before Rachael was even on Team Jaybird, I came out with my first book, Skip the Borders, in 2011, I think. And I was getting hives trying to write my 4 or 5 sentence about me for that book. And Rachel's like, just tell me the bullets of what it needs to be and I'll write it. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, that's easy. And I was like, so I'm freaking out here. And that was as if I didn't already know she would have been perfect for my business. But back then I definitely could not have afforded her, did not have the work. That was the beginning of this. So it looks like we have lots of people. Julie saying this is going to be the best Q&A ever. I agree, Julie. Only way it would be better is if you were here too. Hi from all the different places. Janice, do we need any specialty rulers? For the temperature so long or for life? For life, yes. For the temperature so long, also yes. QVC, would you like to see item number JBQ205? That's what I'm going to think now every time I'm doing a live is QVC. Thank you. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So if you were referring Janice to something specific, please let me know. But I'm just going to assume you're talking about the temperature quilt so long because that is the most recent announcement. If you are here and have made it here to this live without knowing what the temperature quilt so long is, we
go to our YouTube channel, and on the main page YouTube channel, it's the first video that's going to pop up and it's going to play for you right away. And you'll find out exactly what it is. And the link is in the description of the video to tell you where to go to enroll and to get the pattern and the information in the worksheets.
So she is talking about that. Awesome, Janice. So yes, so the temperature quilt so long we just announced, and this has been.
And you're forgiven if this is new information to you, because we have just done a preview announcement. We have not done the full launch announcement. We have not posted on social media outside of the Jaybird Quilt Sew Along groups. So like this is brand new information. We just started sharing this Tuesday of last week.
Are we paused?
I paused it over
You
here.
paused
I
us.
needed to pause it so I could read the questions.
Okay, you pause us. I just want to make sure we're not paused for the world.
No, we're not.
I got
I needed
confused.
to pause this.
Okay, so
I have my laptop over here to the side so I can also see questions and not like come across the screen to read the questions.
So, temperature so long, full disclosure, has been on the back burner, been in the works for a long time. And I was ready to be like, 2024, here we come. And Rachel's like, no, we're ready. And I'm like, are we? And she's like, we are. And I'm super glad she pushed me to not wait another year. And I sewed a sample column. So this is San Diego, where I'm from, December of 2021, because December of 2022 obviously has not happened yet. And the idea of a temperature quilt so long is it's incredibly personal to where you live, because your temperature, not the same as my temperature, not the same as your temperature. And what this is the first half hexagon is the high for December 1st. This is the low for December 1st. High for December 2nd, low for December 2nd, and so on. And what I am doing with the temperature quilt so along is a variety of things. First step is figuring out what is the range where you live and coming up with your color key. I have decided on 15 colors for where I'm at in San Diego, and I am going to be using Kona cotton, these Kona cottons. And so I've given you the names of the Konas I'm using. I came up with a range of 17 colors if I still lived in Philadelphia, which are similar but not identical to the San Diego ones, and I am available to help guide you into creating your own. We have a variety of resources we're putting together, including the pattern, which is exclusive to the sew along, and 14 plus videos and worksheets, and an exclusive Facebook group. Renee says I'm copying colors. Go for it, Renee. Like you can totally come up with your own stuff, or you can use mine. That is totally a-okay. I worked hard to come up with these, so I'd like it if at least a few people copy them, because like I did really pull out like 200 some Kona colors to like come up with what I thought was like perfect.
Piles of fabric.
My perfect is different than everyone's perfect, but I would appreciate it, Renee, if a few people would copy it. So thank you. Appreciate it. So the temperature sew along, the first question that I think was asked was, do you need specialty rulers? And the answer is yes. So you need a combination of the main thing.
Oh, for those of you who have enrolled in the temperature quilt so long, we have a tools video coming for you on Wednesday that will be in your email. And if you sign up after this, that will be included in your welcome email.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
This is why she's my words. The brand new Jaybird Quilts Fussy Cut Shapes, which you also might not know about because we just
teased this last week as well.
We haven't done like a big launch since before William was born a year and a half ago, and we decided to do both our launches in the same week. Yay!
It's a big December. We're probably not decorating for the holidays.
Well, that's a lie. I spent the last like
somebody else decorated for you for the holidays.
Okay, my brother came, but it was teamwork. So I will show pictures. Over the last 36 hours, my amazing brother came down from LA, and we spent, I added up, we spent over 15 of them outside actively hanging up lights and building props. My brother is a genius. I am Jewish for those who don't know, and Hanukkah is the festival of lights. So why does everyone else put lights on their house and we don't? So we have decked out my house. We have a talking dreidel. We have a interactive menorah and lights all over my house. And there's a couple thousand lights on my house, and it is awesome.
It's
like,
really cool.
Amazing.
It's really cool. I have not a decoration in my house outside from the Christmas quilt I made last year and never put away.
I haven't decorated in my house, and I don't think I'm gonna have time to do that. I set aside these 2 days for my brother, and then now I'm back to work because someone cracked the whip on me in a nice way. Like, so as much as
we
like
got 2 big things brand new for you, so somebody's got to tell you about them.
as much as like Jaybird is mine, like I am the Jaybird. For those who don't know, like that's my childhood nickname. Like she tells me what to do. Like she keeps me on track. Like I have a lot of ideas, and nothing would ever get done
That
as
okay.
efficiently or on time without her. Like she keeps me.
Yes, and it's a lot more emphasis on that now that there's a house full of little ones here.
True. I mean, I did do this for 5 years without you.
Yeah.
And I did all right.
Yeah.
But I wasn't married with kids. I don't think I could
Yeah.
do it without her now.
No.
I also don't want to. Let's be
That's
honest.
fair.
Like I could if I had to.
But I'm a lot of fun, so
She's a lot of fun and she's good because she knows me. Like
I make life easier.
we've been together 20 years. Like she knows me. She knows when she can push. She knows when not to push. It's like, what is that? I'm not Christian. Like knows when you're awake, knows when you're asleep.
Santa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That song, like she knows when I'm awake, she knows when I'm asleep, she knows when I've been good, she knows when I've been bad. Like she knows. She just knows.
I'm Santa. Hi.
Oh, Brad's here. And he said blinky blinky. Yes, blinky blinky, Brad. Thank you.
Brad is her brother who hung up the Hanukkah lights.
Yes. If you couldn't figure that out by the Julie Herman, Brad Herman, Brad's my brother. So for the temperature so long, circle back, we get sidetracked a lot.
Where can we get shapes? Marshall, we're going to have these out in stores for you. They're shipping to shops now, and they're going to be available for sale January 3rd. And we're going to have a ton more information coming available over the next 2 weeks about where and when you can get them. But you can definitely search for them online. You can do a Google shopping search for them now, and you can put pre-orders in for them now, for sure. Yeah.
Some shops already have them listed for pre-orders. We are shipping literally to distributors today, and then starting to ship to shops probably next week. And we put an on sale date of January 3rd, but shops are not required to hold them. So like the minute they get them, they can sell them to you. But we put that so that you guys get a little overexcited sometimes. And
it's also a crazy shipping season.
It is.
So we need to just like be chill about managing expectations and do the best that we can. And I think January 3rd is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, but we hope to have them in your hands before then, if possible. So this is what they look like. And the back has some of the patterns. There is more than just these patterns. So you will need either this for the temperature so along, or the OG hexamore, my original ruler. Can you like see it? I'm gonna move there. And because it is the half hexagon shape that is the primary shape you'll be using. There are some other shapes in the top and the bottom of the columns, but that's the primary thing. So one or the other of those is the main thing that you'll need. There are additional things for the temperature so long, but I will leave that for that video.
Way of answering your question this morning, Janice. Thank you for asking.
My favorite color. So we did like a little Q&A for my birthday the other night, and a bunch of people got this wrong.
It's blue.
It's blue.
It's Jaybird blue.
It's Jaybird blue.
It's Jaybird. It once upon a time was orange, and before that it was purple.
It was.
It's Jaybird blue.
It's Jaybird blue. Yeah, when I was a little kid, it was purple, and I begged and begged and begged, and eventually got purple carpet in my bedroom. And my brother's room had blue carpet, which I also liked. That probably was like the beginning of me liking blue. And then towards high school, it became orange, which I definitely attribute to the orange M&M character, who was originally crispy, but crispy M&Ms aren't made anymore, but he's still around. So I don't know like what he's made of. Like he's round, but he's too fat to be like a plain M&M. So he might be like,
I would venture he's just like the random like specialty M&Ms that they come out with.
Yeah, like maybe like a caramel. Yeah. Like he's not a peanut. He's not tall. That's left for yellow and blue and the new like purple.
There is a crispy something M&M.
But but it was discontinued. Oh, there's a new like replacement.
It is like a pale blue package.
I'll have to investigate.
I know this because I keep buying them and eating them all without
The last specialty M&Ms I bought was
recognizing
mocha
what
from my
flavor
mom.
it
I do
is.
not do coffee, but I knew my mom would love them, so I bought them. So yeah, so blue, 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 blue. I'm using your colors, but shifting a bit for my warmer location. Yes, Marianne, you have very similar weather to me because you're only like an hour and a half away, but slightly different. So yeah, so just shift the numbers. Um, love it. I'm a weather nerd. Many years ago, I kept a weather journal and would mail records to a weather newspaper. That's awesome. I love seeing all the random connections people have. There was somebody who commented in the Facebook group that she is a caregiver to a developmentally disabled adult who loves watching weather reports, and so she's going to make it for that person, which I think is like incredibly sweet. Um, so I feel like weather is universal. Like we all have differences, but we all have weather. There's so many things that are not universal, but we all experience weather. We all experience a change in the seasons to a degree. It could be really big or really not big, depending on where you are. So I think it's going to be so much fun to see all of these come together. Oh, Renee's joining now. Awesome. Can't wait to have you in the temperature quilt so long. Chad has said road trip to San Diego. We do have good weather here. Where can we get the shapes? Rachel answered that. Greetings. Did you already say how you came up with the name Jaybird? That would be the one and only Brad Herman gave that name to me. Fun fact, and I recently learned this is actually not a good thing for my physical therapist.
Oh.
Yeah, it means like something is too loose in my back. I have my chicken wings stick out like way further than the average person. And I used to like do this as a kid and I would like go like this. And like when I'm talking as a kid, like I was like 3 or 4. And my 3-year-old older than me brother, so he's 7 or 8 at the time, or 6 or 7, in his super smart alecky way, tells me if I do this enough, wings will grow. And I'm 3 or 4, so I believe him. So I walk around the house a lot like this, and that turned into Juliebird, which eventually got shortened to Jaybird. So that's where the Jaybird comes from. That is from my brother. And when in 2009 I wanted to start a blog, for some reason calling it Julie Likes to Quilt or something seemed silly. So I was like, Jaybird Quilts, and never really thinking like it would take off. I might turn a blog into a business and people might eventually know this. And at the time, I wouldn't say I was ever embarrassed by Jaybird, but like no one knew outside my house. It was like a mom, dad, brother, me thing. And then the first time I was like at a show or someone said Jaybird, and like called me Jaybird instead of Julie. I was like, how do you know that, Nick? Oh, I told the world. Told the world. Didn't think about that. Don't regret it. It is what it is. But didn't think about that ahead of time. Food for thought. Deep South weather. Yeah, so Atlanta, there's been snow. You get snow.
I mean, it's like it's
But it's not
inclement weather.
It's not as
like,
4 seasons as you.
not quite.
No, but a good range.
Yeah.
So that should be fun.
It's a good range.
Georgia, Cleveland, weather changes daily. Yes, Cleveland definitely has extremes. Already ordered and signed up because, like Johanna, I love following the weather since childhood. Awesome. I joined the other day. Nate says hi to you and Aunt Rachel.
Hi, Nathan.
Hi, Nathan.
Hi, buddy.
I hope you're having a good time over with my mom right now. William, aka Dubs, is out on stroller walk with dad, and Nathan is over hanging out with my mom. Thanks. FYI, the email I sent was meant to be humorous. Cozy quilts for scholars. I don't.
Well, look, we got a bunch of email we haven't gotten to.
Was it today? Was it recent? We do get some emails that are not okay. I'll be honest. We get some.
Look, it's a rare occurrence, so it sticks out and like we recognize it and we notice it. But like, please have a Snickers, drink some water. Like
one time
before
Rachel
you hit
responded
send,
to
just think
someone
about it.
and then her response back to Rachel was, "Thanks for nothing."
No, it was get your eyes checked. Thanks for nothing.
Get your eyes checked. Thanks for nothing.
In fairness
we're
to
human.
Her,
when
we're
you
human.
email us, we are human.
In fairness to her, I hadn't had my eyes checked in 3 years thanks to the pandemic. I was due for an eye exam. I had one scheduled for the following week, but I saw what I saw and I was not wrong about it. And we all make mistakes and that's okay. But have a Snickers before you send that email.
Yes.
Oh, hi, Zakia. Yes, we know you. Hello. It was a sweet email. We didn't take offense to it.
We don't always put your real name and your like online name. Everyone knows Julie is Jaybird. I feel like everyone knows, but we don't always put everybody's.
And we know
together.
Zakia from the Facebook group. Like, you're good, girl. You're good.
But thank you for caring enough to wonder if you're good, because that just makes you an even more awesome human than you already are. So one question that was asked on Instagram, I forget who asked it, I apologize if you're here, was, do I dream of quilts? And the answer is yes. Not always, it comes and goes, but I have been known to keep a notebook and a pen or a pencil on my nightstand because I have woken up with like ideas and I need to just write it down. More than dreaming of quilts while sleeping, though, is I get really good ideas while driving. And I call Rachel all the time while I'm driving because I usually am like going somewhere where I can't just stop. And I'm like, Rachel, I have this idea. I need you to just write this down. And I have like verbal diarrhea on the phone over to her where she's just writing down whatever I'm saying. Sometimes I'm making her draw things, which sometimes look like they do in my head. But I'm like, Rachel, like we could do this and we could do this and we could do this. And I talk fast.
And I've had my moments where I've been like, okay, I need you to like go at half speed right now so I can keep up and write everything down because we're on the phone. I can't necessarily take the note on my phone. It's just not how my brain works. I can use the phone to take a note when I'm not on the phone. But if I'm on the phone, I need pen and paper to take that note, and I can only write so fast.
Yeah. But for some reason, when I drive, I get ideas when I sleep and I dream, but I get really good ideas when I drive. Like that's just always kind of been my thing.
Yeah.
And occasionally I have long drives, whether I'm either driving up to LA to see my brother, driving down south or something. And so I will call her and be like, Rachel, I'm in the car and I have this idea and I need you to write it down.
I know to be available and accessible for a phone call when she's got a long drive to an appointment and there's nobody else in the car with her. And there's been the occasion, car full of people and us on speakerphone hashing out the next so long. It's happened.
Because as much as I love my people that are in the car with me, they usually can't like understand stream of consciousness in development. Julie, Rachel's really the only person, Brad a little bit, but Rachel's really the only person who can get like in the moment stream of consciousness, pour out of ideas and pull out the important pieces. She's good at that.
I'm a shower person, but I won't call you from the shower.
I'd answer if you did.
That's sweet. Thanks.
I'm not a shower person.
I'm an ideas in the shower.
My brain
person.
turns off in the shower.
Oh, I would love that if that happened, but
like to the point where if I don't pick out my clean clothes before I get in the shower, I stand clean, indecisive as to what to wear because I can't even think about what I want to wear when I'm in the shower. My brain turns off in the shower.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's fair. I don't drive. I don't have a car, so I don't drive very often. And when I do drive, I'm really paying attention to the road because I'm out of practice because I don't drive.
Valid.
Yeah. But shower time, watch out.
I feel like that's a common thing. I feel like shower is like a common place for people to have ideas. I feel like the car is less of a common place. I'll never forget.
I don't think it's atypical though.
Many years ago, another quilter, Rachael Griffith, who used to have PSI Quilt, called me with a math question for one of her patterns. And while I was driving, sans calculator, I figured out all the math. And it wasn't even until like a little bit into it, she realized I was driving. And I was like, no, like this is how my brain works. I'll need a calculator in front of me. I'll need paper in front of me. Like I can just.
Bailey House asked if I'm a quilter too. So I am now. And I came into Jaybird having like made quillos.
You owned a sewing machine.
I had a sewing machine. I knew how to make stuff. I know how to put the thread through the sewing machine. I know how to thread a machine. And but I'm a significantly better sewer and quilter now, having been with Jaybird for 9 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
9 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a hot minute.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more than I've been married.
Girl, we've been doing this a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't leave me.
Okay.
What I don't know, because you don't get to see this, is like how many people realize like we're not coworkers. Like we're much more than coworkers.
Look, we're coworkers on opposite coasts. Like we can get stuff done remotely. Like I'm in Philadelphia.
We're good at that.
She's in California. Like we've been really good at that. And so like when people started working from home in 2020, they were like, this is what working from home is like. I'm like, no, it's not at all. This is working at home during a pandemic. When you work from home, you have a lot more flexibility. You can build your day out to work your work around your life. You don't have to work your life around your work. And you can go other places and work remotely and be productive. You can't necessarily do that when you're locked down at home. But we're really productive. 2020, 2021 was like a crazy good year for us, and it repositioned what we do and how and our approach to work and how we orient our work. It like the YouTube channel is what it is because of being home the way
Yeah.
we were those 2 years. And it was also an important pivot for us. Like you guys are on social media, Facebook and Instagram are not what they once were, and YouTube is kind of where it's at. So here we are. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for finding us here if you came from the other places. And thanks for picking us up here if you've been here on
Yeah.
YouTube before we finally got the message. Good job.
The biggest thing I would say is make sure you're on our email list. Because that is the number one. You never know. Like we all think everything is permanent, but like any social media could go away at any time and anything. And email is kind of the one constant that like
I can always
email is
find
not
you
going to
on
go
your email.
away.
As long as your email is current and you're checking it, I can find you there.
You know, and we don't spam you. We don't send out a ton, except for this week. I'll be honest, because we have 2 brand new big releases. But we try and be very deliberate about our emails. And you can pick, you know, what you want to get. And
We ask you to opt in for all the different sew-alongs and programs because we don't want to spam you. We don't want you getting emails you're not interested in. So we do ask you to sign up for all of the sew-alongs and all of the programs because we don't want your inbox full of stuff you didn't ask for.
And if you have missed one, please note that you can always sign up, even once it is done. Rachael is incredible and has things set up so that you can sign up at any time and get the emails and do it at your own pace.
Sew-alongs, like if the sew-along is passed and it's over, but you're still interested in making that project and getting the tutorials and getting the emailed information, that's all still live and active. You'll get everything you're looking for.
If you didn't do Nebula in 2021, if you didn't do Toes in the Sand this past year, if you missed Delight, which we just wrapped up a week or 2 ago, you can always sign up at any time to get all of those emails. And all the videos are here on YouTube. And I'm hesitant to ever say that everything lasts forever because
we wish it did. We know it doesn't. We know links break. We know
YouTube could go out of business. Anything is possible. But it's going to be around a while. It's going to be around a while. We do our best to keep the content out there. We're not in this place of you have to do this in the next 3 weeks or you're out of luck. We try and provide it. And if
like that's not our speed. Like we know that life is not easy and fun and does not work that way. So we try to set things up to keep things as accessible as possible to meet you where you're at when you're available for it. That's important to us. That's how we operate in the world, and we want to make things as accessible as possible for people who just are living life the best that they can, and it's hard out there.
Yes, just because the pandemic is over, which it's not. It's never. Doesn't mean things are normal. We're in our new normal, and we really do our best to support you. And if you have been around, you know that we are here to answer questions. We are here to support. In addition to being a quilter myself and writing these patterns and teaching, my biggest thing is I love sharing what I know and helping you be better. I look at my knowledge as a toolbox, and I am constantly putting new things in my toolbox, and I want to put things in your toolbox, and I want you to grow and enjoy the process. This is not work. This is not
it's your hobby.
An assignment.
It's
this is supposed to be fun.
It's fun.
Sometimes it's hard and sometimes it's challenging and it's new, but it's overall still supposed to be fun. So pick fabric you like, pick a pattern you like. And if you like my style of teaching, hang out here. If you don't like my style of teaching, that's okay. You can go somewhere else. There's plenty of other people.
That's all right.
Don't send me emails. All right. Laura, my local quilt shops are really small and stock only a very small range of solids, but I'm picky about what colors look like together. How do I choose from an online shop? Good question, Laura. So if you know there's a range you like, say you like Robert Kaufman Kona solids, Motabella solids, Free Spirits solids, many of the companies offer color cards. And I didn't grab one here, but color cards are basically like, if you think of like paint chips in a Home Depot or a Lowe's, a home improvement store. And so you can see, and I often will cut apart my color card into little swatches and play with them and line them up, because sometimes, things don't look the same when they're next to each other. And if you can't find a color card, some shops have them. So go into your local shop and be like, hey, you only have like 20 bolts up there, and I really want to support you. You're local. I love you, but I want some more colors. Do you happen to have a color card? And could we pick some new colors to order in? Worst they say is no, and you still got a chance to look at the color card. I'm gonna say they're like what, $20, give or take,
Oh
somewhere.
no, the price on everything's like triple these days. Like
Is
a
it
Kona color card is like north of $50, $60.
really?
Well, there's a lot more colors now.
True.
There's a lot more colors now.
I still think it's worth the investment, I'll be honest. I think it is a incredibly valuable tool, especially if you plan on doing more than just this temperature so long and you want to be going into solids. The other option is to buy a fat quarter of every solid, and Kona's got over 365. So 365 fat quarters is going to cost you a lot more than 40, $50 of a color card. But the other option is, if you don't have one and you're not interested in buying one, ask your guild if you're in a guild, because I'd like to bet, especially, most of the modern quilt guilds, but even some of the traditional guilds, somebody in your guild has one. And you can be like, hey, Rachel, can I borrow this for a week?
Or you can like ask your guild, can you like make like a solids like color day? Like everybody like brings their solids. Like you have a day where you focus like just on like what solids everybody has, or building your solids. Like
Yeah.
you can make a whole there's so much programming and activity you can do around the solids that are available. And like we have a Kona focus. Like Kona's been Julie's go-to since the day she picked me up in Philadelphia driving around town and said, hey, this lady at Robert Kaufman reached out to me and sent me all this fabric, all these Kona, look at, and she just reaches in his bag in the back seat and like puts all this fabric in my lap.
They have the biggest range. I love the hand. I love the feel. It's always done me well. And I'm one of those people, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like if you've been using Tide your whole life and it cleans your clothes, why are you going to switch? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any others. These just make me happy.
And I know that there's some shops that are reluctant to stock Kona these days because there's so many colors, and that's valid. I get that. Moda's solid range is very popular right now because it's a little more accessible for shops. So like that's another option. Like Moda's got some great colors, some great solids that are out there. So just kind of explore like what's available to you, what's accessible to you. And there's also Free Spirit. They have their solids and they have Tula solids. If you're a Tula fan person and you want to work within the Tula solid wheelhouse, like that's valid. There's no wrong way to do it. It's a little bit tricky to find your way to do it, and that's okay. Take your time with it. Don't get upset about it. Don't beat yourself up over it, but make it an opportunity to explore. Like quilting season is coming January, February, March next year. Maybe your Q1, I'm sorry to bring Q1 business terminology into this, but maybe your winter goal, your winter or summer season goal, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, is to explore solids and find the solid range that works for you, that's accessible to you, that you can make your go-to solid range for your quilting projects.
Another good way, if you don't have a ton of experience in solids and you're not ready to do the color card, is many companies make bundles. And they will make
and they're coordinating bundles,
cool
that
bundle,
go together.
warm bundle, rainbow bundle, this bundle. So for example, one person in the temperature sew along is going to use Tula Pink. She's had a couple different iterations of solids, but her second most recent
Dragon's blood and
are Dragon's Breath and Unicorn Poop. And one is more pastel and one is more punchy saturated. But they both have a good rainbow-ish range to them. So that's like a good place to start. And then maybe once you have them, you're like, I want one more orange and one more purple, or whatever is going to make you happy. One person said, I live somewhere where it's really warm and there's not a big range, but I love cool colors. There is nothing that says that this can't be 80 degrees. Or this can't be 60 and this can't be 80.
It's your quilt.
You don't like red? Don't put red in your quilt.
Don't put red in it.
Have it started orange. Have it started yellow. You could literally, like, these are my colors. If you know me, like, my wedding colors are all green and blue. Like, your quilt could all be just purples and blues and greens.
These are cool cools. You can go for the warm cools too, right, for your warmer colors. Like, you got options.
There's no wrong way. I mean, the big thing that I suggest is contrast, because you don't want to end up picking 10 blues that are all 1% off of each other because your whole quilt might just have zero contrast and you might not be able to tell the difference. And maybe that's what you want anyway. Who
Here's
knows?
here's the other thing, guys. Like we had intended for this Ask Me Anything for this AMA today to be like a little bit looser and Jaybird and not necessarily focused on the temperature quilt. And we can absolutely do a live focused just on fabrics, just for temperature quilt folks. We want to
Yeah, if
give
that would help you, tell us.
we want to give folks a little bit more time to enroll. We want to give a little bit more breathing room for more people to join us in the temperature quilt so long, since we really just did like the preview announcements last week. We're gonna have like a big announcement in our email this week for our full email list on Thursday. So like as we're coming into the new year, coming out of the holiday season and into the new year, we're going to have a lot more focus and a lot more resources for the temperature quilt sew along. This is really just the warm up round. We're not trying to leave you hanging at all. And we can put together, like, one of the things we're excited about for the temperature quilt sew along is that we get a lot more freedom to do whatever we want in the sew along. It's all Jaybird. Nobody else is partnering with us on this. So we can work with you guys to really focus on what it is that you want. And it doesn't have to be from any one fabric company or from anyone on any one manufacturer or anything like that. So we've got freedom, we've got time, we've got options, and we're not going to leave you hanging at all. We can definitely do more temperature quilt only focused fabric discussions, tool discussions. Absolutely, not a problem.
And I've promised 14 videos, but that there's nothing stopping me from giving you more. It's not like a mailing thing where we've priced out shipping costs. I can give you as many videos as I want. So if you need it and you want it, I will add that content. I just see another question. Do you pre-wash or pre-starch your fabric before you cut? Good question, Janice. So I do not starch. I'm not a starcher. If you are and it works for you, I say more power to you. I'm not a fan. I don't like the stiffness. I don't like the lack of flexibility to manipulate into things. Pre-wash is very case specific. Generally speaking, no. I'm not an overall pre-washer. But if I am using batiks, I pre-wash. If I'm using anything that's hand dyed, if I'm using something that I'm worried about the bleeding, whether it be a super dense red or something, I love Shout color catchers. They're kind of my saving grace. I wash everything with them, and I find that I've had very few bleeding issues. And the few times I have, they've actually saved the quilt later down the road by pulling excess dye out. So when I'm working with prints, for instance, like this, didn't pre-wash any of this. Um, and that's the same for the majority of pretty much everything you see behind you. We're in my living room, so we took a bunch of pillows from the couch and stuck them behind us. So you'd have a nice little show here. This is my set sail curator. Didn't pre-wash any of this. But if pre-washing works for you, do it. Now, one exception is I've gotten really into apparel making lately. Some of you know that. So like I made my sweater. Can you it off for me? Like
She didn't make this. I bought this.
I need the you need to get the sound effects, like the audience back, like the
yeah.
ooh,
She needs a laugh track.
I need a laugh track. And so I did pre-wash this. I pre-washed everything, made my pants, pre-washed this. I do suggest pre-washing if you are making clothes because clothes need to fit a body. Shrinkage does happen in quilting between the quilting itself. So like this was 16 and a half inches square before I sent it to be quilted, and it came back 16 by 16. And then when I wash this, which I haven't yet, it will shrink more. If that matters to you and you're making a bed quilt and you're really concerned, it might be a good idea to pre-wash everything first because you're going to have less shrinkage of the overall finished product. Either one.
Either one.
But clothes need to fit. And 5% shrinkage on clothes is a big deal. It might be a different size. So I definitely pre-wash clothes, but I'm not the kind of person that cares 16 versus 16 and a half to take the time to pre-wash this. Pre-washing requires a lot of pressing and also
It's just a lot of legwork up front.
Yeah, I got 2 kids. I have enough laundry to do without fabric laundry. There's just a lot. I don't have a lot of free time, and the free time that I have, I want to be spending in another way. And if I had a problem, I probably would pre-wash more. But I've been quilting and sewing myself for over 20 years now, and I really have not had problems. So that's what I go with. You're an amazing couple. Been a fan of Jaybird for many years. I love you.
Oh, you don't starch either.
No, I
We're
did
not
say that. I did say
starchers.
that. I started by saying that.
Did we start by saying that?
Before I talked about rewashing. Yeah, I'm not a
So,
starcher.
like, we're not your good resource for asking us about using starch or, like, I'm like, no fault to anyone who prefers to use starch. That's totally fine. But, like, we're not your girls to help you out with your starch
You want to do
questions.
starching? Kim a Fat Quarter Shop. Starch is everything, from what I know. 100%. No exceptions. Kim and I are on the same page with a lot of things. Starching is not one of them. She is in camp 100% starch, and I'm in camp 100% no starch. Doesn't make Kim any less of a quilter, more of a quilter, better. Kim is an amazing human being who loves to starch.
Fran
And
mentioned a product called Flatter by Soak is excellent, and that is a good middle ground, Fran. That is a good, and I like Flatter when you've got creases that you're trying to press out and they're just a little bit stubborn. That Flatter is going to help you get it out.
yeah, like if you bought a bundle and sometimes those fat quarters have been folded on the shelf for a while and like they can be hard to get those out, Flatter is great for that. And I like Flatter because it doesn't seem to give any weight to the fabric where starch does. And some people like that weight. I don't like that weight. So I teach without starch. It doesn't mean you can't use starch for my patterns, but I am not your resource to come to for starch. I am your resource for a lot of things, not starch. And that's one thing that you will find is I'm very honest. I will tell you when I'm an expert and I will tell you when I'm not. I am not pretending to be an expert at everything, and I am not going to lie to you and tell you I'm good at something when I'm not. I am not a amazing machine quilter. I'm not even really a good machine quilter. I can do some fantastic walking foot stuff
Straight
going
line.
on. I'm amazing at blue painter's tape and walking foot. This, nope. This isn't me. This is Teresa Silva. There are many talented quilters. Angela has done a lot of my stuff. Teresa's done a lot of my stuff. There's so many people out there. That's not me.
Yes, Kathy, Flatter. You got it. Flatter. You got it. Yeah.
I'm going to flatter you. You can give me compliments. You can flatter me. Quilting is not my piecing. I am an amazing piecer. You got piecing questions, I am piecing. You have paper piecing questions, English paper piecing questions, probably not your expert. English paper piecing, Tula's great at. She's got a lot of videos out there. Tula Pink, foundation paper piecing, Pride and Joy Quilting. I'm horrible at saying her name, so I'm just going to say Pride and Joy Quilting. I love you, V. I do. But I'm just not going to butcher your name. So I'm just going to say Pride and Joy Quilting. She's on Instagram. She is incredible. You want to learn foundation paper piecing, Violet Craft, and Pride and Joy Quilting. So good at it. You want to learn English paper piecing? Go follow Tula. You want to learn traditional piecing? I'm your girl. I got this. That's my stuff. What I really like about you, you're real. I am very real. I don't know how to be any other way.
You get what you get when it comes to the two of us.
Yeah, like
That's probably why we work well together.
It is. Somebody asked about alphabet soup. This is alphabet soup. Alphabet soup is A through Z and 0 through 9. And so like this is a sign that I made, Tula Pink, for a quilt market. And sneaky little information here that you didn't know. I have had prototypes of these for years, and I did the fussy cutting on here with my prototypes. It's just taken a while to bring them to market and have them be perfect and exactly what I wanted them to be for you. But I have been playing with them for years. So all of these like awesome fussy cut scissor things and rotary cutters you got going on. Yep. Did that with my own tools. There are fabrics like this background that don't need to be fussy cut. They don't want to be fussy cut. They're a blender, maximize. And then there are fabrics like these scissors that say, please don't chop me off if you don't have to. Please don't, please. I'm made to be in the show. So 2023, when did we March, February?
We have not mapped out.
We haven't announced the timeline. We started to map it out.
We have been promoting that we're doing the So Long in 2023. We have half an idea of when and how we're putting it together. We know we're covering letters. We know we're covering numbers. We know we're building projects with you. Do we have the timeline? We thought we would have had it together by now, and then I got congested and I haven't been able to breathe until this morning.
Spent all day in a room yesterday, and that's okay.
So we're this week. I'm probably going to change my flight so I can stay a couple days longer. And we're going to map out the timeline for you. We want to get that information. Like, we want to have it for ourselves. We want to have it for you. But the timeline is like, we're committed to it. We know we're doing it. We just haven't mapped out when through February, March, April, May, we're doing it. But you can expect it after January and before June. In that window, February, March, April, May, somewhere in there, we're doing alphabet soup.
In the book, in addition to the letters, are specific projects. And if you already have the book and you have a project in mind that you really want a part of the sew along, please let me know. I can't guarantee it'll be a part of it, but I would love to know what you want to see. This, I can tell you for sure, is going to be a part of it. So this is the name quilt. And see, this is actually my quilt that lives on my couch. And I made a double-sided quilt. This is a Latifa pattern on the back.
She does make other designers
occasionally I made clamshell because I just wanted to play with her clamshell ruler. It's so much fun and it's so different than my stuff. So the other side of this has my name. And the fun part of what this quilt is, in addition to making the name, the rest of the quilt is filled in by a wide back. So like Tula makes these awesome wide backs that can be featured on the front. There's no reason why they only can be used on the back. So we're going to do this name strip. And specifically, I can tell you in the sew along, we're going to be making Williams. Nate has his and I have mine. And poor William doesn't have his yet. Thankfully, he's a year and a half and doesn't really complain. But I have the fabric set aside and I'm super excited. We're also going to definitely make a pillow. So these pillows are in the book. And these are the actual pillows that I had with me in the hospital when I gave birth to my kids. I didn't know whether I was having a boy or a girl each time. And so I had an N and an E for the other name. And Nathan was born. He got the N pillow, gave the E pillow to someone else. Then again, had a W and a new E pillow. William was born, gave that E pillow to someone else. And I will say, if you know someone who knows the names but doesn't know what they're having, this was kind of really fun for me. I took one pillow form with me to the hospital in my bag and 2 covers. And that was my husband's job. Like, after the baby's born, some point, throw the right cover on. And then, like, it's in all my pictures of the hospital. It's kind of like cool to be super personal. So we're definitely going to do the name pillow or the initial pillow, I should say, because you can do whatever you want. And we're going to do the name quilt. I think we're going to do probably a number banner. But I want to know what you want to see. We did recently the Joy sew along, and I apologize that I don't have Joy out here. I decided to be super generous and give you those 3 letters for free. So you don't even need to buy the alphabet soup book. If you missed it, go ahead, sign up now, and you can still get those 3 letters for free. And we turned that into a table runner. So that was kind of a preview. If you like this, you're going to like that. And so we gave the J, O, and Y. So this is going to be similar. We're not going to go as in depth with each letter. I literally showed you this to this, this to this, you know, but I want to make sure that you know how to figure out spacing and planning and fabric. You know, sometimes things are less contrast. You see this where the end really pops. You can barely tell there's 2 fabrics until I like bring it all the way in up close. And then there's times like this where like this is cut, pin, sew, make quilt. Get it? Just thought it was funny to make a baby quilt that said cut, pin, sew, make quilt. This is really high contrast. You know, these are 2 different fabrics. These are 2 different fabrics. You can really tell they're 2 different fabrics. So you can choose medium contrast, high contrast. There's so many options.
Jennifer, you asked to see the shapes against the fussy cut pieces. So like there's a preview for you. And hey, on our YouTube channel, there are direction videos for all of the fussy cut pieces. So you can see how to use, they're all live now. The last one went live this morning. So you can see all the pieces in action on Tula Pink Tiny Beasts.
Yeah, so here, this is a good example. I haven't even finished this yet. This is the letter T. And so this hasn't shrunk yet because it hasn't been quilted. But this shows you the diamond on top of it. And the cool part of how I designed these is this gray is your seam allowance. So when you're putting this on fabric, like pretend I'm cutting a diamond out of the center of this, you know exactly what part of the raccoon is going to show up because of that gray line. If it's under there, it's your seam allowance. If you see it, it's going to show up. So, you know, I specifically cut that raccoon though with this hexagon. So there are 6 shapes in the bag. 6 pieces. The half triangle is in 2 different sizes, so 5 shapes, but 6 pieces. And they were designed to, I picked the most used shapes to have a wide variety of patterns to really work well with alphabet soup. And then they can be used in, the patterns are shown on the back, but there's gazebo and rock candy and Lucky Charm and candy dish and this and that.
Seaside,
There's so many.
all of the Journey to Nebula patterns, except for Jawbreaker, are you can make with the fussy cut
And you
set.
kind of can do Jawbreaker if you
Yeah.
rewrite the pattern. The shapes are there. Just Jawbreaker's written to be cut from a strip set. If you use the 2 shapes separately, you can do Jawbreaker, and then you could do everything.
And the 2 shapes we're talking about are the triangle and the half hexagon.
Yeah, if you have that pattern, it's pretty easy to figure that out. If you have questions, we're here to answer those. That's how you skipped out on helping with lighting up the house. Congested, sure.
Look, this voice was saved for this live today.
And in her defense, when all the other adults were needed, because I was in the middle of hanging lights and my brother was doing the programming and he needed an Ethernet cable to be connected and needed Lawrence to do that, Rachel did step up, and she was Aunt Rachel watching the 2 kids yesterday, sick and all, so that all 3 other adults could be outside. So she did the most she could yesterday, and I can't fault her for taking the rest. It is fun listening, though, to her explain to a 4-year-old, like, what rest is, because he doesn't ever see me rest because I'm his mom and I don't get a chance to do that. He's like, "You're napping again?" And she's like, "No, I'm resting." And he's like, "So you're sleeping without sleeping. So you're laying down, but your eyes aren't closed." Like, it's really fun watching them interact with each other. It's pretty fantastic. I love how quick you've been making clothing. I need some confidence. You know what? What is that? How Stella got her groove back? I feel like sewing clothes is how I got my, like, quilting groove back, if that makes sense. Like, it gave me this new outlet, new purpose, and I have loved things that I never thought I would, because I always loved quilting because it was flat and predictable, and clothing is not, and it needs to fit a body, and there's a lot of trial and error in clothing and a lot of, like, mistakes. You make something, it's too small, it doesn't fit, that was a waste of time. And that's been a real learning experience for me, because I am at the point with my quilting where my skill set, rarely do I make a mistake to the point of something is useless. I did plenty in the beginning, plenty. So don't feel bad if you're still there. But I'm at a point where most of my quilting is not there, and I've made a lot of mistakes in clothing making. But when you get it right, there's just something about, like, this fabric's so cool, and I don't want something super tight, and I don't want a V-neck, and I don't want this, and I made this fit me. I will say, the right tools help. I still struggle to sew clothes on my sewing machine. My serger was a game changer. That was my early 40th birthday present to myself. I had this whole conversation with Rachel where I was like, I think, for my birthday, I'm gonna get this. And she's like, why are you waiting till your birthday? She's like, you have time this summer to sew. And I was like, you're right. She's like, just go buy it now. Like, you're at the age where you don't have to buy something on your birthday. Like, and I thank you, because
Welcome to 40. You can do what you want. You're a
yes,
grown ass lady.
do it. That serger, one of the best purchases. I took a serger basics class at the shop that I bought it from, which is Sewing Machines Plus. They sell all over the country and probably internationally, but they happen to be my local shop here. And I had a great serger basics that, like, made me unthread and rethread my machine like 15 times in the class to try every different stitch. So I came out of there knowing what I'm doing, because if you're anything like me, there are so many features on our sewing machine that we don't actually know how to use, because we learn how to do the, like, 4 things we need, and then we're like, nah, eventually. And I've really dived into, and then slowly I went from having just white thread and black thread to, like, more threads. And then a couple months later, I did decide to buy a cover stitch machine. And I really feel like my clothes do look like I'm gonna stand up, like, show you, like they have, I feel like they look good, and I'm proud of them, and I'm comfortable in them, and they fit my
Professionalism. They have a level of professionalism.
my
that you feel
postpartum,
good
I had
about.
2 children body, and they make me feel good about myself. And there's something about feeling good about yourself that is pretty awesome. And let's be honest, I also just don't need more quilts in the house. So I used to sew quilts like this in my free time. This is a
Yes,
tulip pink pattern.
She sews more quilts by other people.
But like now I'm sewing less other quilts in my free time and clothes because do I need more quilts in this house? How many quilts are in this room?
I don't know. I don't want to count.
More than 20. And these are the quilts we use. These are not the quilts that are in one of 3 other rooms being stored to go on trunk shows to come to your local quilt shop. These are the quilts we use, and there's 20 in this room. And then there's like 10 in Nate's room, and there's however many in William's room. There's a quilt on every bed. There's quilts in Rachel's room. There's quilts on my bed. So I don't actually need more quilts. I'm not in any way advocating to make less quilts. Make all the quilts. But for me, it's been fun to do something else in my limited amount of free time, but in my free time to sew clothes. And it's a natural transition. I'm still playing with fabric because I don't know about you, because I became a quilter because I loved fabric. I loved petting it. I loved touching it. I loved the colors, and I wanted to play with it. I've always been an artist. My friends and family recently learned through my quiz at my birthday the other night that my first venture into
Entrepreneurship
was Clay by Julie. I was less than 10, and I made beads and pins and things out of female clay and Sculpey clay back 30 plus years ago. I made horrible looking business cards because I had no graphic design skills back then. But I was super proud of them back then. And luckily, the whole experience just kind of, I loved it. And then eventually I got into no sew before I knew how to sew, no sew fleece scarves and fleece blankets and made chocolate chip pretzels. And in college, I started sewing sorority and fraternity letters on t-shirts. And then got into quilting and have not looked back since.
So here's another question. Here's the one question we got on Facebook. Would love to hear a day in the life of a quilt designer.
That's a hard question. Before kids or now? Before kids, I'd wake up, I'd take a shower, I'd wash my face, I'd get dressed, I'd come down, I'd start my day. Now I deal with my kids, and then I get them off and out the door or do whatever. And it really depends. So there are days that are just sewing, and that it is experimental sewing, figuring out, planning, is this working? Or days where it's like, I know I need to make this letter O to be able to show fussy cut examples, and I need to sit down and sew this O. And then there are days where I don't touch my machine at all and I'm at my computer. So for those who don't know, I do all my own photography unless I'm in the picture. And then in that case, I have set up the photo and I get in it and then I make someone else take the picture, but I'm there. I don't outsource my photography. I do all my own graphic design of all the guts inside every pattern. Rachel does all the technical editing along with the team, but I do all of this. So in any given day, I'm sewing or I'm writing or I'm planning or I'm taking pictures for social media and blog posts and marketing. I pre-kids was not good at maximizing my time. I thought I was, but I didn't really know what that actually was. And if I didn't have a chunk, I didn't like to really do stuff. Like if I had 30 minutes, I was going to watch a TV show or do whatever. Where now I'm really good at maximizing my time. And if I have 15 minutes, I'm going to go knock out sewing one block or doing this or doing that. Like we have tomorrow is the last live on Facebook for Toes in the Sand. And I'll be honest with all of you, I don't have tomorrow's block sewn yet, but it's cut. So I took a few minutes the other night and both blocks are laid out on my sewing table cut. And when we're done this live, gonna hop back in my office and get that block sewn up on my design wall so that I know that I'm ready to go for tomorrow. It's a lot of jumping around, and that's where, especially with kids and with what my life is right now, Rachel is essential because she keeps track of everything that I need to do and tells me, today you want to do this, but you got to do this. You got to get this done first. This is the time sensitive thing, then pivot back to this. And I could put my kids in childcare 40 plus hours a week and never see them. That wouldn't make me happy. I could give up this and stay at home with them all the time. That wouldn't make me happy. I'm in this weird middle, and some days it's easy and some days it's not. I'm not going to pretend like it is. I rely a lot on my family. We're in the process of hiring a nanny. We hired a nanny who quit 40 minutes before she was supposed to show up last week. That was not ideal. So we got new ones in the works. I have had some phone interviews, some coming this week to meet the kids. But I equally love being a mom and doing this. I have done this as a hobby for over 20 years, as a business for over 13 years. And it is a big part of my identity. For those who've been around for a while, know that I really struggled with postpartum anxiety and depression after Nathan was born. And I was in a really bad place for a while. And I had zero creativity and never thought I was going to get back to this. And when I got to a good mental state and got back into this, was really when I got to a good place and got back to being who Julie is. And so I need both. I need to be in that place of doing both. So that's important to me. How do you both like to stay organized? I don't know about you, but this is a big part of how I am organized. Is I love these bins. So these are Inner Design. I get them at Target. They're big enough to hold like a book and blocks or cut fabric, and they stack. They fit well on those IKEA Expedit or Collect shelves. I think you can fit 7 in a cube if you don't have them overfilled. And I like them because I can pull them out and plop them on my desk, do what I got to do, and put them back. I also like scrapbook bins that have lids, especially for bigger projects because you can get different sizes of those. But those tend to stack up, and then it's kind of like a leaning tower to like pull out the bottom one and get whatever. Where these, since they fit in the cube, I can pull all 7 out, find
So,
the one I
like,
need.
she's materially organized, and my brain immediately goes to Google Calendar, only Google Calendar. Don't use multiple calendars. Pick one calendar, stick with it, organize your time, everything goes on that calendar. If I could have one email account, I would prefer that, but I toggle between 2 at the moment just because, like, our email service, like, is not being kind to Gmail these days. They're in a fight for whatever reason, so, like, I have 2 emails right now. Not ideal, but it's working. Um, keep everything in Google Docs. I can search for
We love Google
everything.
Docs.
I'm looking for everything that we're actively working on, that's actively in progress. I'm not the best organized in Google Docs, but I don't have to be because I know how to search.
Right.
So I can search for everything that I'm looking for. Do I have 10 tabs open? Yeah, I'm not the person with 50 tabs. That's not my deal. It's okay to be that person, but I like to be able to identify each tab that's open, and I close tabs, and then I go back into Google Docs and I find the tabs that I need again. Yeah, I'm the online keeping the project and the process
I am pretty
organized.
meticulous about file names. I think our email server changes them a lot when you download them and puts them into regular. But like if you were at my computer, everything is very named by the project and then the specifics and then the date. And then every version has a new date. Because that's just how my brain is able to search and find things on the computer. And when Rachel will be like, you were better last week before you got to this version, and I'll go back and find that file. So I like to keep multiple versions when we're working on stuff. So yeah. And the reality is I'm also not always that organized. If you saw my house right now, I pick and choose.
What can be
My
organized
house is
when and
clean,
where.
there's not trash laying around, but there's unfolded laundry. There's toys that haven't been put away.
Somehow my pantry ended up on my dining room table. I'm not really sure how that happened, but clearly the pantry needs to be cleaned out. But like that's where my desk is. It's the dining room table, it's my pantry, it's my desk. I work in a functional studio, dining room, office, sewing table.
My pantry's in the pantry, but my kids know how to open it, which is a problem.
I mean, my whole house is the size of her half of her first floor. Like, California, Philadelphia. We have different size homes.
Yes.
That's okay.
You also have less people in your house.
Significantly less people in my house and
Less stuff.
less stuff in my house, but we got to transition from like pandemic life to what this is now.
Yeah.
And it's time to like purge the hoarded food and dried goods just because we wanted to make sure in case it was the worst case scenario. That stuff can get composted. I'll come home and do that between Christmas and New Year's. No problem.
How am I doing with my postpartum depression? I'm doing really well. So thankfully I did not Nothing happened. After William was born, I had already figured out a good medication regimen, and had therapists.
There were a lot of lessons learned and a
Yeah.
lot of structure and support built into the process.
Yeah. And we
So,
expected it,
yeah,
and we were prepared for
we
it.
planned for it.
And so thankfully it didn't happen, but we were prepared for it. But I'm still really all about being open and sharing because I don't think enough people are, and so people feel really
Yeah.
alone, and you
I
shouldn't.
think for us, it became clear that it's one thing to provide structure for the baby and the baby coming home, but it was also important for us to provide structure for mom when she came home. And we had a clear plan for what Julie's maternity leave was going to look like and what her coming back from maternity leave was going to look like. And there were timelines and there were projects and there were deadlines and there were things in place that clicked for her, that worked for her,
Yeah.
that and when we first go around when we were welcoming Nathan home, we didn't have that. We didn't have that same demand on time and demand for projects. It was a lot looser and, lesson learned. We need structure. So now we have it.
And we learned that I need to sew. So even though my maternity leave was technically 5 months, that was from work. But I was in sewing in my office week or two after he was born and did fun things when I wanted to, because that was a part of my journey. I'm all for self-care and figuring out what your self-care is. For some people, it's running. For some people, it's reading a book. For some people, it's drinking a cup of tea, watching a show, going to the spa. I like to sew. It makes me happy. Like making stuff makes me happy. So I made sure that I had 30, 40 minutes every day to just sew and play where somebody else was taking care of both the kids. And whether or not I did something productive for work or not didn't matter. If I did, Rachel was like, great, send that over. And if I didn't, I wasn't required to. That was a big part of keeping me healthy this time around. So thank you for asking. I am doing well. And it feels good to be doing well. I love my little kids. They're a lot though. I'm not going to lie. I am, have kids if you want them. If you are not,
It's not for me. I'm good with that. I'm happy to be
know
Rachel.
it. Know it and do what is right for you. That is a big, big lesson that I have learned. I was not pressured into having kids. I did want them, but I think things would have been a lot worse for me if I had done it out of like society obligation or marital or whatever. And I think a lot of people do, which can make postpartum anxiety and depression even worse. Know what you want. It's hard to know what you want. Figure out what you want and do what you want, what is right fit for you.
Guys, we've been here like over an hour and there's still 77 of you here. So you must be enjoying yourselves. You must be having a good
Do you
time.
enjoy the Rachael and Julie show? Is this the reality TV you want? Are we the new not housewives of across the country? I don't know what our show would be called.
Any plans for more? I love your Kona fat quarter bundles and have used them with several of your patterns. Any plans for more palettes? Oh, thanks everyone. I'm glad you're having fun.
I mean, I guess the temperature quilt is kind of like its own palette.
I don't want to say we got away from that as much as we've just shifted gears. We've just shifted focus where there was a lot of focus like 2014, 2015 on, and the genesis of that Jaybird bundle was Julie's wedding. Like we were putting her wedding quilt together and all the other wedding accoutrement. And I will say, as her maid of honor bridesmaid person, it was a hell of a lot easier picking from 22 different colors than it was to pick from 4. So like, yeah, go wild, like have a whole color range, like do that. It's amazing. It makes your life crazy easy. It sounds over the top and it's absolutely not. But like that was the genesis of the initial fat quarter bundle. And then all of those quilts were built out of that time, like Boomerang, Splash, Night Sky. And you can go on the Jaybird website and search wedding quilt and wedding colors, and you'll see all of these quilts that we're talking about. And like that just kind of like lived in that time capsule. Like,
well, and we
that
did also have
exists in
Night
that
Sky,
place.
and we had Arcade Game. We had a couple other custom ones to those. I'm not necessarily doing a bundle for the temperature quilt because A, a lot of you might pick your own fabrics, and B, it's I'm working on the fabric requirements, but it's not as concrete as a specific pattern. Lap size this, twin size this, because temperature is going to fluctuate and you're going to use more of one fabric than another. And even if you planned your fabric perfectly based off of 2021, 2022, 2023 is a different year, you know? So you can't know exactly that May 4th is going to be the same as it was last year. If you're going back and doing historical data, somebody is doing their birth year, you can plan better. But it's going to be more approximations. That being said, I do like curating things. So, you know, I may use the bundle, the colors I picked for this.
Well, here's the other thing is like that was also pre-kids, right? And like this was all like Nathan is newly home and we're picking fabric and we're picking bundles. Like there was a lot of bundle picking for Quilts for Baby and beyond. But I think with kids in the mix, it's been a lot easier to work from collections and it's been a lot easier to work with what Tula's new lines are.
And then one thing, if you're not familiar with Quilts for Baby and Beyond, which we did a sew along, could sign up for that as well. I did a lot of these quilts in Kona, A, because Nate really likes rainbows, and B, because I knew they would be around for a while. And in the book, I give you all of the colors that I used so that you can either A, use the same, or B, figure out your fabrics based off of similar or whatever range you want. So while I haven't done a bundle recently that you can buy from your local shop, some shops did make kits of these, or you could take this as your, you know, grocery list into a shop and be like, I need these 8 fabrics, or I need these 15 fabrics. So for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the quilts, here you go. I need to answer this phone call, but we're on here. What do I do?
We're gonna step out.
Rachel's gonna talk to you for 1 second. I'll be right back.
I do think like I have a good eye for color. I'm not the fabric person in the relationship, but it is a big mental bandwidth. It's a lot of mental load to sift through all the fabrics and all the colors and find the good things that work together. And on occasion, like behind the scenes, like the dye lot changes from one batch of color to the next. So sometimes we're kind of scrambling to find either like an old dye lot or we have to get new dye lot colors to keep things consistent in the same quilt top. That happens from time to time too. But I will say like it's 2020 on, like it with the 2 kids in the house, it's just been a lot easier to work with somebody's existing collection and existing lines. And I think one of the few projects that she outside because the baby book was in progress, like we had the baby book colors set before 2020. But the colors that were new for us are the temperature quilt, and that took a lot of time. That was a lot of effort to put those colors and put that range together.
We have a surprise!
Special guest!
Hello!
Hi, buddy! Hi, everybody!
Are you waving hi? Can you say hi? Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, you see yourself.
It's you.
That's you.
It's you. You're on TV.
Yeah. Hi. You could, Kate, that is right. You could use the colors from the Quilts for Baby and Beyond and the temperature quilt. I didn't even think of that. Thank you. See, you know, this is why you guys are awesome. Whether you use it as is existing or you use it as a base to start, there are a lot of good rainbows in the colors in Quilts for Baby and Beyond. So that is a good place to start. Hi. Oh, you've been outside. Your ears are so chilly. Your hands are so chilly. Did you have a good walk? Did you have a good walk? Yeah.
Oh, Zakia asked, what do we binge watch? This one is like Survivor Amazing Race while sewing.
Yes, I love reality TV competition shows like Survivor and Amazing Race while sewing, because like I've already seen them all, so I know, but I haven't seen them in a while, so I don't totally remember, but it doesn't take my full attention.
Put on an audiobook for me when I'm sewing. I don't want a screen in the background. But like when I want my screen time binge watch, like give me a drama, like give me The Crown, give me White Lotus, like yeah, give me the popcorn.
When I have time to binge, not at my machine, give me sci-fi, give me Expanse. The Expanse Love The Expanse. If you have not checked out The Expanse and you're a sci-fi person, do it. Such good writing, such good visuals. So good.
This
so
guy will
good.
take 90 minutes of Chef Gonger and Cookie any day of the week.
Wait, can you show everybody? How's Cookie Monster eat his cookies? Nom, 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 nom.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he's pointing to the TV now. We just created a monster. Yeah, maybe we'll watch it in a little bit, okay? Does that sound like a deal? So what do we got? Today we have Ernie, Bamba on one foot, and Cookie Bamba on the other foot. Nom, 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 nom. Can I eat your foot? Nom, 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 nom. I'm hungry. Nom, 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 nom.
Ow.
So yeah, so when I don't get back to you on an email right away, or when I seem busy, this is why. This is why.
Yep.
Baby, baby.
Yes, you're very busy. That's you, baby.
Yeah, that's you.
It's a W for William. That's you.
All the comments have stopped since he came in here. Are you guys just enamored by him?
He's really cute.
Marianda said, "Hi, William." Hi, William. Nom, nom, nom. Nom, 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 nom. I'm gonna eat you. He's very tasty. He's very tasty.
All right, we're an hour and 15 in. This was a
There's
good
still
run.
75 of you.
There's still 75
All right,
of
so
you
Rachel,
here.
you just need to fly out once a month.
No problem. I don't have anything else going on. Bye. Say bye-bye. Can you say
This has
bye-bye,
been awesome.
everybody?
If you watch this recorded or if you watch it live and you have questions later, you know the drill. Leave your comments here on YouTube. Drop us an email. Find us on Facebook, on Instagram. We really appreciate your support.
You're welcome.
I'll
Thanks
do
for
that.
tuning
Comment,
in.
like, subscribe. Gotta do all those things. But yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're enjoying this because it will give you alerts as to when all of the new videos and new content is up. And please tell me what you are enjoying and what you want to see more of. While I can't always make promises that I will do exactly what you want, I really do take your feedback seriously and I appreciate it and I want to know what it is because I want to know what's working. So please share it with me. Must be fun getting to see Auntie in person. Yeah, Nate met Rachel when he was a year old.
2019.
This guy did not get Aunt Rachel in person until this week, and oh, he's enjoying it. Oh, yes, he is. Yes, he is. Looking forward to temperature so long. Roseanne, thank you for recruiting 3 friends. I want to hear how that goes. I want to know if you guys get together each month, or if you have like a Zoom, if you live near each other. I want to know. I am so looking forward to the community that is going to come out of the temperature quilt sew along because it's unique, it's special, it's different. Thank you for all you do. You're welcome. Hi, William. Thank you guys for joining us here today. This has been a lot of fun, and I will see you again soon. So yeah,
Thanks, everybody.
have a good one.
Oh, there it is.
Down there. Got a double hit end.
You do. You do.